Hey, welcome to this video on CiteSource. Today we're going to be taking a look at one of our vignettes using the Shiny. It's our benchmarking vignette, and this is really just a awesome use case for CiteSource. It's going to help improve your search strings and just iterate very quickly to ensure that you are crafting the most impactful string, and it really will speed up your research process when doing evidence synthesis. So you can find our vignettes on our CiteSource webpage, and you can also find our Shiny app, all by going to our GitHub page. So I'm going to jump on over to that Shiny app. And so the first thing we're going to want to do is upload files. So we are going to upload a bunch of files here. And that's just to show you just how robust the application is. And that it can handle a lot. Normally, I wouldn't necessarily recommend working like this, but there is a reason also I want to show you why we have so many files we're uploading. Maybe used to platforms such as Web of Science having a limitation on exports. Web of Science has currently a cap at 1,000 that you can export at a time. So if you don't want to take all those, bring them into something like EndNote or Zotero, you can actually just take those raw citations and upload them straight into CiteSource, though it might take a little time in tagging. Once you do that, though, you can export your CiteSource data and re-import it with just one single file. So definitely, if you're working through this, save your file, export that CSV, and then re-upload it later. You'll see we have our benchmarking articles here. I'm going to go ahead and just click on this just to show you how easy it is to add those labels. For the source, we automatically take that file name and strip the RIS or bib file name off of that. In this case, we really just want to combine these searches so that these records all came from that second search. Again, you can bring that material into something like EndNote and then just re-export it once they're combined. It's not a big deal either way you want to do it, but this way it does take a little bit of clicking. So I'm going to pause here now and do all this work, and then I'll show you what it looks like on the other end. All right, here we go. So you will see now that all of our site sources are labeled accordingly to the search. And then what I've done is I've labeled these according to the benchmark or search. And so all of these are searched, obviously. This vignette that we're basing the video on it's a pretty large vignette due to all that data. So we're going to be archiving some of these vignettes, but we will always keep that data available so that you can potentially follow along with a video like this or check out just more robust use cases. There is a limitation for CRAN packages on the size. So what we want to do is we're trying to keep the package size as smaller for you all. So we've duplicated the citations now, and it shows that we have 23 potential duplicates. CiteSource uses ASYSV, as the deduplication package. That was developed by Caitlin here. Really great deduplication package and well documented in her paper. So in here, I'm not going to do any manual deduplication, but you can see that once duplicates are identified, you can match them up by author, title, and the rest of the metadata here. You can actually select those and then remove those duplicates manually. I'm not going to do that now just for the sake of time. We're just going to go ahead and jump on over to the Visualizations tab. All right, great. So in the Visualizations tab, again, we're going to start with this heat map. And the heat map is going to show overlap between, in this case, the different searches. I am going to take off our benchmarking articles so that we can just see more clearly the overlap within the actual search string. And this is a really great plot, but in the case of benchmarking, it doesn't make as much sense because we really want to be able to see where there was overlap across multiple strings. So in here, I'm going to add those benchmarking articles back in. I want to filter them out and take a look at what this tells us. And in order for us to get a really good view on this, I'm actually going to increase the size of my screen here so it's easier for you to see. Fantastic. Okay, so let's take a look and analyze these various search strings for a minute. So we've uploaded those 55 benchmarking articles. And of those 55 articles, we can see that all but 6 have been found across the 6 searches. And that's represented here at this single point where these 6 were not overlapping with any of these search string results. We could also see the number of benchmarking articles that were discovered by each string, as well as the number of articles that were shared between searches. We can see that all 5 searches caught 9 benchmarking articles. As you go down the line, you can see how many benchmarking articles those individual searches caught. Search number 5 caught 3 benchmarking articles, and those benchmarking articles weren't caught anywhere else throughout our strings. And it's not just benchmarking to test how well your strings are doing. You could also use this method in order to build a bigger set of benchmarking articles. So let's take a look at that. We know that these searches got 9 of our benchmarking articles. We also see that our searches had overlap of 140 articles. So, if you were to bet, there's probably a high chance that there's some pretty good articles that are relevant to what you want and could actually be included in another round of benchmark testing. You can also use these to just evaluate how each one is performing. And obviously, different search strings can be developed for different uses. So going back, that search number 5, it has the largest number of results. 5,966 are unique to that search. And we can also see that search number 5 finds 3 benchmarking articles, like we mentioned before, that were otherwise not found. And so while a researcher might want to ensure they capture the highest number of benchmarking articles, the addition of 6,000 articles might not be efficient. Instead of including that search for a final strategy, the researcher may consider reviewing those 3 articles that were found by the search and trying to adjust one of their other searches to ensure that they do catch those or see what the problem was, right? We don't necessarily want to expand our search that wide. We want to create the most efficient search string. Another decision a researcher might make in this case is to drop search number 4 and search number 6, as each of those strings don't contribute uniquely to the discovery of any benchmarking articles. And so while the data backs up that decision, there might be also more to consider. For example, if the benchmarking articles are biased for any known reason, or certain search strategies were employed with an understanding that the benchmarking data may not accurately reflect their potential contributions, that might be a reason to keep that. Maybe there's some geographic region that search focus on. Another decision in this case might be to drop search number 4 and search number 6, because neither of these search strings have uniquely captured any benchmarking articles. So every other one, you can see, search 5 captured 3, search 2 also captured 3, search 3 captured 4, and then you go down the line. There's no point at which search 4 and search 6 alone capture those articles. In the case of this single article, you have search number 6 and search number 4 that capture that article. So again, that might be an article to look at, which will bring us to our next table, which again for benchmark testing is just a really awesome table. First, we're going to start off with this initial records table. So this gives you an idea of how much internal duplication there were within sources. So you can take a look at an example like search number 5. While you think something like Web of Science doesn't have any duplication, in fact, there is a bit. And in this example, we catch a little bit of it. So initially started with 7,552 articles that we've uploaded, but there was some internal deduplication within Web of Science for those. So we actually ended up with 7,549 after internal deduplication within this search string. After that, right, obviously there's a lot of overlap within these, but we have 21,782 total records that we've looked at for this. Within the detailed record, we're able to see, again, the number of unique records, the number of non-unique records, and then we also have some calculations here for the percentage of unique contributed articles and the number of unique distinct articles, or the percentage of distinct articles that search string contributed. We're going to jump into the individual records table here. And this is really great. And again, is the piece that's going to help you speed up that iterative search string design process. Because what we can do is we can take a look at all of our searches. First, let's start with benchmarking. So we have our benchmarking articles. And then what we want to do is see which of those searches capture those benchmarking articles again. So like something like this, a benchmarking article that was not captured across any of our search strings, we can actually expand that citation out. We can go straight to that article just by clicking on that, that link right there. And then we can take a look at the title, abstract, all of that stuff and see why wasn't that captured in any of our search strings. And in fact, this article was something I believe that just wasn't even indexed in Web of Science. So that's sometimes obviously you're going to run into that. But then as you look across your different search strings, and I know there's a lot going on here, you can start to get a better understanding, right, of how to make slight changes to those strings. And this just makes it a lot faster. Being able to directly connect to those articles. You can also download this as a CSV. It's going to be a true-false table. So anything that, anywhere where, like this example here, that search 5 for this article is going to be true and the rest will be false. So you can play around, with the actual data in CSV. Finally, again, you can just go ahead and download a CSV of all of this data and in the future, re-upload it so you don't need to do any of that work. So we'll take a look at what that looks like. I'm just reloading everything. We don't have any files in here. And I'm going to go ahead and upload that file that I just downloaded. We don't need to do any deduplication. All that is, been taken care of for us. We can just quickly jump into our visualization. So there you have it. And as you play around with this tool, please provide us feedback. We're going to be developing more of these use case video vignettes. So if there's something you want to see or if there's some data you want us to take a look at, please feel free to just drop us a comment in the discussion board on the CiteSource GitHub page. I'll show you where that is, right on here under discussions. So please feel free to jump in here and talk to us about what you want to see. Thanks so much for joining me, and we look forward to talking with you.